it's a game that could be decider in the title race. Liverpool, all they need is a point to seal the title in this game. And do you think, like, the way Liverpool are how do you reckon Liverpool are looking at it? Are they like, because they've been poor in recent weeks, do you think in this game they're just going to come out full throttle, being like they know on this day they can steal the title, or they're just a bit calm about it, saying they just need 1 point in the next 5 games? It's going to come regardless.
Yeah, I do think they're going to be calm about it, but I also think the fact that home to Tottenham, they know how we play. They know that they could batter us if they're really on it. They know that they've got basically 5 games to get that point anyway. I see them kind of going hell for leather to basically absolutely overwhelm us, and I think that's going to be the approach that I think. It's definitely been quite tense over the last few games for Liverpool. Leicester game, the West Ham game, they weren't great in that game, could have easily dropped points. So I wouldn't say they've been feeling the pressure, but it's kind of like they've been just getting over the line, going through the motions a bit in this title, kind of stumbling their way to this title, losing to Fulham where they were quite poor as well. And luckily for them, Arsenal haven't taken advantage of that and have stumbled alongside them. But now they're in this stage where the ending is literally in sight now. They're literally 1 point away from that title. So I think they're going to go into the game knowing, basically with massive confidence, knowing that they can just basically rip us apart, knowing that we're not a defensively strong team. And they're going to go for it, which, might suit us in terms of them leaving the back door a bit open, but I think the tension might be lifted in this game. I get a feeling.
And just Anfield will be like a mad noise, won't it? The atmosphere will be really intense in terms of Liverpool fans know they're literally just a point away from the title. It's going to be party mode from minute one. Like, win, lose or draw, even if they lose, it's probably still going to be party mode because they just know it's just 1 point away from the title.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it'll be party mode if they lose, but I would say that they know they've won the title, and I do see it being a jubilant, buoyant atmosphere on Sunday for sure. It's going to be like a carnival atmosphere, I feel, with the title being sealed, and I'm sure they'll want to seal it in fashion. And I think they'll see us as, lambs to the slaughter, especially with the form we're on, the fact that we got a massive game on Thursday anyway. So I think they're going to be really up for this.
Yeah, I agree. With Liverpool, though, like we just mentioned how they're not looking great over the past couple of weeks or even a couple of months, but they're still getting over the lines. They're still getting wins quite regularly. But what is it about these performances? What do you put it down to? Is it just a case of, didn't make any signings in the summer, didn't add to the squad, and they're just like running out of steam a little bit? I
feel like going out, obviously they lost in the League Cup final, really disappointing result against Newcastle. Really disappointing performance. They just didn't turn up, did they? PSG, disappointing to go out the way they did. Weren't great over 2 legs. All decent in parts in the second leg, but the first leg, even though they won, very lucky to get away with a 1-0 win. Dominated. Second leg, really put themselves in control and they didn't take advantage. So I feel like now there's only the league left and they're so far ahead. It's almost as like they're expected to win it, and like they're just kind of going through the motions of these games because they're so far ahead. They know they just need to basically get these wins over the line and don't have to maybe play that swashbuckling football that they did kind of over the most of the season to get those wins. Whereas over the season, I think a lot of the time they've played some really good football. I don't know what it is, and the mentality is kind of just like, maybe it's just like, doesn't matter how we play now, just get that result. That's all that matters at the moment. I kind of feel like that's the kind of feeling inside the dressing room, and that's basically just getting them over the line, because I feel like there's been a massive dip. I think, first of all, as well, the Trent injury has definitely impacted them. I know he came back against Leicester, but I think he's such a big part to how they play, because he gets the ball and he hits it so early to Salah, and it's no surprise to me that Salah has not been in the positions that he was before when Trent was playing, because Trent gets it into him so early and with such quality, and all of a sudden Salah gets squared up with the defender one-on-one and gets into those goal-scoring positions so frequently. Without him, you've seen Salah be a lot more nullified, I feel, in these last few weeks. I think, first of all, Trent's back for this game, I think. Came off the bench, so I'm sure he's going to start. So that's also a massive part to it. But I feel like at the moment, it seems as though Liverpool just feel like we've got a job to do rather than we need to play a certain way or we need to kind of batter this team. It's just like we need to just get over the line and get these wins, and that's kind of the feeling. And I think you see it with a lot of these teams, even sometimes even with Man City. I know they usually kick into gear like later on, but a lot of sides, when the title is getting closer, they do tend to tense up a bit, and the games get a bit cagey when you're within touching distance of it. And maybe that's just what we're seeing with Liverpool.
It's mad though with Salah because he hasn't scored since early March, since the Southampton game, and he was on track for like a record-breaking season in terms of goals. Like he could have beaten Erling Haaland's record with the rate that he was going at that moment in time. Now 27 goals with 5 games to go.
Only the 27. No,
yeah, but I'm talking about record.
Yeah.
Like Haaland was 35 is the record.
Is it 35 or 37?
It might be 37. I can't remember at the top of my head, but 35 or 37, regardless. Like a month ago, when he was on 27 goals with like 10 games to go, it was on track. Now it's kind of slipped away from him, and maybe it is that whole Trent thing why he has gone off the ball. Like this is probably Salah's quietest period in the whole season, and
for sure,
it's probably. Do you reckon, like with the whole Trent situation hovering over them, this has played a part of it as well? Not of him being out of the team, but of him leaving at the end of the season. Because there's been that whole negativity from the fan base as well about it.
Obviously, Salah has signed on, hasn't he?
Salah,
and Van Dijk have signed on. I think it probably has put a bit of a cloud over everything. Nothing's obviously confirmed yet with Trent, but the rumours are he's going to be going to Real Madrid, and all the reliable journalists like Ornstein and Romano saying it's getting closer and closer without anything being signed, sealed and delivered. But I think he's such a unique player. He's such a talent in the position that he is. You don't really find another player like him, and the fact that he's also a homegrown player, I think that must cause a bit of like anxiety in terms of next season. How are they going to replace him? How are they going to improve him? Because he plays such a significant role in their system and how they play. They basically, in a way, the system is built around him in some ways. The way he's allowed to basically drift into midfield and just dictate the play from that position, and basically gets a free role from right back. Only certain players with that quality are able to do that, and obviously he's one of them. And how are you? And we're basically seeing at the moment how they're adjusting to not having a player of that quality in the team. And yes, they're still getting the results, but they don't look anywhere near as effective at the moment. And they are just about getting over the line. Maybe it's just with momentum and just look, they still have good players and a good team, so they can win these games even without playing that well. But I think Trent gives them that X factor at the moment, and he's a big reason. I 100% agree. He's a big reason why Salah was having the season he was having, and a lot of the time he was basically directly responsible for Salah getting in a lot of those positions and scoring a lot of those goals. So I think this current form and where they're at the moment, I think the kind of uncertainty of a Trent isn't going to help. Not so whatsoever. And he scored. Maybe the fact that he's been back in the team will give him a bit of a shot in the arm in this game and towards the end of the season. But I also think they'll miss him more than people expect next season.
Yeah. And like a stadium like Anfield, particularly if you've got like no motivation to play, like we have seen in a lot of the Premier League games over the past couple of weeks. I mean, maybe Nottingham Forest wasn't like that, but definitely going away to Wolves was a bit like that. And with the motivations that they've got to win the league, like I do fear like we could get battered here, to be honest. And
yeah, I worry it could get ugly.
It could get ugly, and it could get ugly pretty quickly.
You know what? It reminds me. It could be like, remember that game we played at? I mean, we've had a few batterings at Anfield, but the one that sticks out of my mind is where we went there under Sherwood. Like, was it near the end? It was a similar stage of the season, wasn't it? And I think in that point, actually, we were like challenging for top four, but like we were outsiders, maybe like 6 points behind or something. And we just got out
4-0.
We lost 4-0.
We scored an own goal in like the first minute.
Yeah, we just got absolutely battered, like from start to finish, making mistakes. We were just all over the place. And I've just got to worry it could be something similar to that.
Well, the reality is, though, our record at Anfield is absolutely horrific. Haven't won there since the Van der Vaart days. Every time Ange Postecoglou's gone there, we've conceded 4. We conceded 4 prior to that with Ryan Mason as well. So the last 3 times we visited Anfield, we've conceded 4 goals.
So that was a comeback, wasn't it? 3-0 down,
yeah.
We came back.
Yeah. when Richarlison
And gave it away. Yeah, we got famously memed.
Yeah. So, how are we going to avoid conceding 4+ goals on Sunday?
Yeah, I don't know if that's the achievement we're going for. Try and limit them to under 4. Look, Liverpool are just a great team. So I think if they're at their best, and if
there
we're
are
going
great teams that we play better against, like Man City. You know, they're a great team, but we always seem to turn up when we play Man City. And to be fair, like we have had some good performances at Anfield, just not taking away maybe the points that we deserve sometimes.
Anfield curse.
It's the Anfield curse, and with our recent record there, conceded 4 goals the last 3 games, that I guess with no motivation, that is what we got to look for.
Yeah. Even last season, obviously we were 4-0 down. We had a little late comeback, made it 4-2. I remember we played quite well in those last few minutes. Could even made it closer, but obviously it was when you're 4-0 down, a bit too little, too late. Obviously the game at Anfield this season was a disaster in the Carabao Cup semi-final. Obviously we had a host of injuries. We were still playing Gray at centre back, or was Danso's debut, or was it Gray and Danso? Centre back.
It was Davis and Danso.
It was Danso's debut, I think, and Tell making his debut as well. So it was just a very difficult. He came on in the first half, didn't he? Richarlison got injured. It was just a very difficult day, and we ended up losing quite heavily on that occasion.
Conceded 6 to them this season as well.
6 at the Tottenham Stadium. Yeah, 6-3. Another game where we were losing by a lot and then made a little comeback and wasn't enough.
I feel like that's what's going to happen this weekend. Probably going to concede like 3 before 60 minutes, I would say. Maybe 4, and then score a goal or 2 towards the end.
I guess the difference when you're playing a team like City and Liverpool is City they need control of the game, so they do everything so slowly. So I think when they're relying heavily on their technical ability, like we've got quite decent technical players, and physically we're not that much worse off than a team like City. But when you look physically against a team like Liverpool, they just overwhelm you, and that's why I think we go there and we absolutely bottle it, because City don't go there. I know they can do it because they're not a terrible physical team, but they try to pass you to death, whereas with Liverpool, usually anyway, and it was under Klopp mostly, it's like rock and roll, isn't it? It's like we're going to absolutely basically overwhelm you physically, and that's hard to counteract unless you're really up for the fight. And when we go to these stadiums, we're just not up for the fight, especially Anfield. So we usually end up on hiding, and it's hard to look at this game and think anything else is going to happen other than a fairly comprehensive victory for Liverpool.
Yeah, particularly as when you look at our away record just in general, never mind at Anfield, just our away record in general is just atrocious. And on top of that, the individual errors that we're making week in, week out in the Premier League, it's just like, is there any part of you that think we could go and take something from this game?
If we were to play our full strength 11, then I think we'd have more of a chance. But the fact we're also changing pretty much the whole team, or a lot of the team. We've got a big game on Thursday, which I'm sure, whatever people want to say, they're going to have half an hour on that game. The fact that we make the changes,
they're probably going to
manager, maybe both eyes on that game. So.
Surely if you're a player, right, playing in this game and you know that you're going to be playing on Thursday night and you see that 50-50 to go to, that you think, oh, you know what, that could be a bit dangerous. You're not going into that challenge, to make sure that you're fit for Thursday. Surely.
Yeah, unless you're a player that's trying to win your place for Thursday. But
let's say a Romero, for instance.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand. Yeah, potentially. I understand. And that's happened. They wouldn't be the only player to do that. That's happened with lots of players. Even people have even said, it's been a thing when a World Cup is coming up. Near the end of the season, players have half an hour on that World Cup and don't want to go in their 50-50. Some players are accused of not giving it everything because they don't want to get an injury before that World Cup. That is just a natural thing. It's subconscious. I don't think they're consciously going into this game thinking, I need to be fit for Thursday and I don't want to win. But subconsciously, will they really go in, put their head in where it hurts, or put their foot in where they're second favourite for the ball, when subconsciously they know it's all about Thursday? Yeah. I think that obviously plays a part, 100%.
And that's another reason on top of why we should why we should make the host of changes in this game, and we should wrap the players that are going to be playing on Thursday in cotton wool. Because first of all, they're not going to be playing at full throttle, in my opinion, whether it's conscious or subconscious, whatever it is, they just won't be. And second of all, you don't want to run any risk of injury, particularly at a Liverpool team that are going to be going at 100 miles an hour. They know there's a good chance they go and win the league this weekend. They're going to be going into challenge full-blooded. You know what I mean?
100%.
They're going to be bang on it this game. They're going to be so overly aggressive just to make sure that they do get over the line and win this game, and bring home the title in style. What is the point in playing anyone that's going to be playing on Thursday?
Look, as I say, from my point of view and from a fan's point of view, all we care about is having everyone available for Thursday. But as a club, they still got to go into the game trying to get a result. I know it on the outside, it maybe doesn't mean anything, and obviously we're playing for nothing. But I don't think they can go into this game thinking, well, let's just lose. Like, they still want to try and power a team that's going to go there and get a result. And if they feel like, yes, within reason, you have to make certain changes to keep certain players fit. If you don't feel like they play this game, they're going to be fit for Thursday. But if you do feel like a player can play two of the games, then I can understand that you want to try and do what's best to try and get a result in both those games, as much as the priorities on Thursday.
Like, you look at like Ruben Amorim's comments after the quarterfinal, and he's like just came out straight away like, look, our priority now from the end of the season is the Europa League. I'm going to be playing the kids in the Premier League. I think that's the right attitude to have, to be honest.
Yeah, it probably is. I agree with that. As I say, as a fan's perspective, 100%. I think he is going to prioritise Thursday. But I think, what Amorim said is, did he do that though? Did he not play one first team player?
He did play a couple, but I mean, he did play some players that we've never even heard of before.
So I'm sure we are going to rest players, and it's going to be a majority change team. But you don't want to send them to be lambs to the slaughter. Essentially, you want to try and put out some sort of team.
The reality is, though, we are going to be lambs to the slaughter regardless.
Yeah, I know that. But they don't want to. He's not going to go into this game telling his players, you're lambs to the slaughter, and we're going to get battered, is he? He's going to try and give them belief that we're going to get a result. But I think the reality is, we all know that whatever TV puts out is going to have half an eye on Thursday anyway. So it's hard to guard against that in this current situation. But I think he will put out a few of the players that are first teamers.
On the flip side of all that we've been talking about, if Liverpool do come out and play like they have been playing over the past couple of weeks, and we play, let's say, similar to the way we did against Nottingham Forest, minus the Vicario screw-ups, there is a chance we can do something.
Well, West Ham should have probably won that game, and if you watched it, the chances they had. And obviously, they even equalised late on and were unlucky they conceded a goal straight away. But West Ham easily could have got a result. I mean, they went to Leicester, and they were terrible. Let's be honest. They got the goal late on, but apart from that, they really didn't do much against a Leicester side who have the poor. I know we lost to Leicester, but they have the poorest defence. One of the poorest defences we've seen in a while. Like, they've been so poor this whole season, and Liverpool could have easily dropped points in that game. In all honesty, so if they do come out playing like they have been recently, with a bit of tension, without that kind of freedom that they've been basically playing with for a lot of this season, then I do think there's a chance we can, put them under pressure and get something out of this game. I just got a feeling they're going to start to click again in this game, especially with Trent back in the team. It's going to just give them a bit more impetus. But if that doesn't happen, look, we've got good players there, and for sure we can do something. I think even with the teams out there, I'm thinking, can we get a goal or two? Can we ask some questions? But all I see is they're going to dominate us, and I don't see us defending like we did against Frankfurt. Even if we did, would that be good enough? Because they're a better team than Frankfurt. I just see Liverpool taking advantage of it.
Yeah. The sad stories, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to see anything but a heavy Liverpool victory this weekend. But you never know. Spurs can potentially surprise a few people, but I just can't see it.
If we win with a much changed team, how impressive would that be? It'd be a fairly impressive win.
It would be fairly impressive, but I don't think it will change much in most people's minds about anything.
Well, You know, with all the talk, all I'm saying is you go to Anfield and win, especially in a game where they need to get the result to win to confirm the league. At least it shows that he can, even with a much changed team in this kind of scenario, he can go there and get an impressive result ahead of a big game. And hopefully that could give us a lot of kind of confidence going to Thursday, which we should have anyway after beating Frankfurt.
Yeah.
But I think having a win at Anfield on your CV, considering we haven't won there since 2011, is not bad. Not a bad thing to have.
Don't think it makes a difference to anything, to be honest. Having a win at Anfield and the Etihad on your CV in a season where you finish 16th or 15th, I think I don't think it matters in the slightest, to be honest.
No, but why not?
Because you're finishing 15th and 16th or wherever you're going to finish, and if you win it it means absolutely nothing. You're losing against teams like Ipswich and Leicester.
So losing to Ipswich and Leicester matters, but winning at the Etihad and Anfield doesn't.
It depends where you finish in the league. If you finish 15th, then yeah. If you finish in the top 4 and you beat Liverpool and Man City and lose to and Ipswich and Leicester, then no, it doesn't matter. And then the wins would matter a lot more. But because you're finishing 15th, 16th, 17th, then the wins don't matter and the losses matter a lot more.
Okay. I think it will just, in terms of Ange himself, I think if he could somehow get a win at Anfield, I'm not saying it changes everything, but I think it just gives a reminder that, you know, not all is bad, I guess. And if he obviously couples that with the Europa League win, then hopefully the narrative will start to change with him, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But score prediction?
4-2 to Liverpool.
4-2, yeah. I said 3-2 in my prediction. But I kind of do feel like it will be something like 4-2, to be honest. I think Liverpool probably go 4-0 up and Spurs get a couple goals towards the end, a bit of a rally. But that is our match preview. Sim is making the dreaded trip up to Anfield to get you all the kind of content from there. I'll be in the studio with Mr. Danny Kiriakou with the watch along. So come and join me on the watch along. But that is it from